What is the hard cap versus soft cap issue?
Well, if it's a soft cap, you're going to have continuing increased salaries with mid-level exceptions, and there's all kinds of ways around the cap. You got the bird exception, which allows you to sign your players you have on your roster for a certain amount of time to whatever you want to keep them, although that's been reduced also the last time around. But I think the hard cap is basically what football has and what a hockey has. And I think that's really what the NBA probably would like to see. I don't know if that's realistic, but I think that's where they're trying to head. But I don't think the cap matters as much as the sharing of revenue. How much of the revenue are the players going to get and how much of the other teams going to get? And that's really what it all comes down to. You can use caps and all these other things, but you know, if at the end of the year, you know you had a good year, at the beginning of the year you had $1, and at the end of the year you had 10. You know you made 10 grand.
Right.
And I think that's really the bottom line to all this. Who's getting what share of the revenue? And I think that's what the battle's going to be about, in my opinion, but I don't even know that for a fact. Mm-hmm. I'm sort of just talking like I do on any business deal.
And I've heard this before. Not these words, but this same concept.
Do you think that the issues will be able to be resolved so that everyone is relatively happy with the future of the NBA between the players and the owners?
I certainly hope so. The NBA is in the business to play basketball, putting on basketball games. The players are in the business to play basketball. Eventually, they will get it right, but it may be painful, and it may take some time.
When you said, will everybody be happy? I think the makeup of the different sides of this issue, there's some people who are never going to be happy, no matter what the deal is.
Sure.
So I think everybody's not going to be happy. The question is, does it work for both sides?
Frank mentioned Larry Fleisher. I think it might be a good thing to go back a little bit in time.
Sure.
And in 1983, the NBA and the Players Association were at the end of a collective bargaining agreement. They had actually extended it a year, I believe, but they were at a point where they had not made any progress. And Larry Fleisher gave the league notice that if there had not been a new agreement in place by March 31st of that year, so just about the end of the season, there would be a strike. And of course, it was a brilliant. The timing was brilliant on Larry's part because, in normal course, players' contracts are paid over 6 months, starting in October, and they had been completely paid. All the players had been paid under their contracts. They hadn't yet played the playoffs and made their playoff monies, which, depending on how far they go, is generally a step down in terms of per game cost.
But the team makes a lot of money.
But for that very reason, the teams make a fair amount of money. So up against that deadline, the Players Association and the NBA reached an agreement 2 or 3 days before that deadline, and they instituted for the first time what we now call the salary cap. It was I don't know, 6 or 7 iterations ago. It's been modified and refined. But what happened was Larry Fleisher had been shown, as Frank referred to, the books. And he was a very smart guy, but he was also a courageous guy. He looked at them and he realized that we had a very serious problem here for the league, for the continued success of the league. There were 5 teams that might not open the next season. And what he recognized, as rational people would, but not necessarily those in the midst of this kind of a adversarial negotiation, he realized that if the league fails, the players fail. They're too tied together. They are, if the league can't succeed, the players can't succeed. Even though they have contracts that say they're getting a lot of money, nobody's there to pay them. It doesn't do them any good. So he was willing to take that step, and it was a courageous step. There had been no salary cap in any sport up till then, and he was party to a very innovative approach. That's maybe the kind of situation we're in now. We don't have a strike scenario. We may have a lockout scenario, and hopefully people can do the same things that Larry Fleisher did, which is to go and look at, understand it, and take a bold step.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.